All right, you guys, I'm excited for you to meet a Create Your Shape superstar, Rachel. She has done 2 rounds in Create Your Shape, and she is a CrossFitter at Push and Weight in my hometown, Powhatan. But first, kind of tell me where you were before joining Create Your Shape. Like, where were you at in terms of in your body, in your routine, your knowledge, and what you were wanting to create?
Yeah, so I wanted to make it like a lifestyle. I had definitely gone through these like peaks and kind of like valleys of like, I don't call what I do now a diet, but like what I did before, like really felt like that was a diet. It was like something I was doing for 8 to 12 weeks. When I was in that mode, I could meet the macros or whatever the thing I was that I was counting at the time, right? And I could do that for 8 weeks and then I would fall off of it and really not be able to get back without going into something that was also strict again.
What would you say is maybe the biggest like shock or the biggest thing that stood out to you, or maybe a couple of things that you're like, oh, this is how it's easier. Oh, I didn't realize this, or oh, the strategy, or whatever it may be.
Yeah. Just the concept of creating your plate. I mean, I knew like, oh, I should have a protein and probably have a vegetable and like have all those things. But just how we laid it out of you have your grains and you have your vegetable and you have your protein. And like that was so easy when I started to think about it. Going every time I think about a meal, all I need to think about are those 3 things. What's the grain I'm going to have? What's the protein? What's the vegetable? What's the fruit? And that was like, for me, just a good reminder of it can be that easy. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated of the food that you're eating. You can make a meal with those things and it can still be really, really good and you can really enjoy it. And like, I do really enjoy eating it and it takes the thought out of it. That's one thing. I think the other is not to focus on my weight as much. Like I've learned from you all the things that are going to affect my weight on a day-to-day basis. And tying into like one particular number and like, oh, I need to lose 5 pounds. It's kind of meaningless because your body can look so different depending on what kind of muscle you have. I essentially weigh the same as I weighed coming in to your program, but like I feel more slender. Like I have more muscle definition. Like you can see it in my arms, in my shoulders, in my stomach, and I weigh the same amount. And so if I wasn't taking that guidance from you, like taking pictures and like looking at those changes, and I was just focusing on the number, I probably would be disappointed. One of them that I definitely am much better at now is like, I would like skip meals, right? Because I like wouldn't eat breakfast, especially on the weekends, because the weekends were a time that I would maybe be a little bit more flexible, go out to dinner with friends or my husband or with my daughter. And like, so I felt like in order to compensate for that, I had to eat less the whole rest of the day. Mm-hmm. I've gone through this 4 months with Jenny and like I've done really well, but now I'm gonna fall off. And like I don't feel that way at all.
Was there anything that you were nervous about or unsure about before signing up?
The idea of tracking my food, which has become so easy. Like we talk about how to make that easy and keep it easy on yourself, and all of those things have helped. And it's not as daunting. Like I remember you said to me, Rachel, you will be doing this in 3 to 4 minutes a day. Like, how much is 3 to 4 minutes of your day, really? And I was like, there's no way it's only 3 to 4 minutes. Like that, there's no way. But it really is. Like, in fact, it's probably even less than that because it becomes second nature. And even though I still am like, tracking, using like a tool to track, like it doesn't feel like a burden. And I thought it was going to. Generally, I like plan my meals out at least for a couple of days. It helps me with consistency, like make sure I have the food I want and all of that. But like if a day comes and I'm not like feeling the meal that I made, I'm able to like so quickly swap the food. And like we really talk through like how it's okay to like for that to be the thing that we want to do and like not have to please everyone else by like having that extra beer or having that dessert. Like there are definitely times that I want to have those things and I do have them in the plan and in my program, but like there are times that I don't. And like I feel so much more prepared to like say no to those things or to really make sure that like I'm choosing the thing that's making me the most happy in this moment.
What are the biggest things that maybe you've noticed and then changes in each of those categories?
Just in like how my body feels. Like I was waking up pre doing this program with you. I feel like I was waking up feeling like sluggish and kind of run down and like, oh, I definitely needed my cup of coffee to get that day started. And like my stomach just felt like a little bit like uncomfortable. I felt kind of bloated and fluffy and all of those things. Since that, just changing slightly the food that I'm eating, like just dialing it into a like slightly higher quality and like really making sure I'm getting the right portions of everything. My body feels better. I wake up with more energy. One of the bigger things for me was just being able to remind myself that I can go out and like still enjoy eating a meal out with my husband or with friends. And like, it's not an all or nothing thing.
How does this impact you from 5 years from now and 10 years from now? What would that look like for you?
Yeah. Like the one thing that we talk about is just how like I feel better, right? Like I feel healthier. I want to be like around for my daughter for a really long time. And so just knowing that like I can make these changes and like live a healthy lifestyle to be around for her is like one thing. I think the other thing is like I know that I want to be a role model to her, right? Like I want her to be a kid and I want her to enjoy all the treats and that come with being a kid, but I also want her to know like it's good to make healthy choices too.